Good evening, everyone. It's that time of the year again, and what a year it was. 2014 was quite a year, all things taken into account. So, I'm going to close this year, and I'm going to close 2014 with a few thoughts and a few things that I had in mind. Behind you, you have my little setting. Let me run you through this, if that's what you would call it. Yep. Yes, this is my dorm, and these are a few of the things that I could bring with me. So, Game Boy Pocket, never leave home without it. PS Vita, never leave home without this either. Rocket Raccoon, which I found super cheap, and it's a really good book. There are only 4 issues to Rocket Raccoon, but it's a really good story. And for those of you who are new fans of Rocket Raccoon, who discovered him in the latest film, Guardians of the Galaxy, Rocket Raccoon actually debuted with the Incredible Hulk, the 200th issue to be exact. So check that out. Yeah, Super Mario Brothers comic, of course, because I'm a huge fan of Super Mario Brothers, the old school Super Mario Brothers. From like 1987 to 1990, that was the best time to be into Super Mario Brothers. And into WWF as well. There's Tears to Tiara art book, which I'll talk about a little more in a moment. Is my staggering PS Vita collection, which a lot of mostly Western people have been saying that the PS Vita is on its last legs and has no games and blah blah blah. The only advice I can give you is this. There are 2 organs in the front of your face called your eyes. Use them once in a while. Got some Game Boy software here. Wario Land, good stuff. Wii U gamepad, which I'll be talking about in a moment. Few essential Wii games and some Wii U software. Some PS3 software. I don't have a PlayStation 3 with me at the moment, but one of my classmates actually lent me his, so I was able to play a bit. Here's Soratorobo fan book collection, which if you missed out on the fan books because they came out, well, so irregularly, you can go ahead and just pick up this one over here. It's the complete collection. All of the fan books, all of them in one. And I think you'll enjoy this very much. It's a really nice binding. Awesome-tacular. Up you go. And here's my Wii U, which has been seeing a lot of use lately. And since I'm focusing on the Wii U, I think I'll talk about this little machine a little bit. Before that, I have a little shopping bag here. Bungalow, which a friend of mine from Ayauta in Japan sent me. Very useful shopping bag because plastic bags are banned where I am right now. My pen, which I use for signing checks mostly, which I've been signing a lot of those lately. The Quran down there because I am Muslim. And Soratorobo banner, which I have to have something Soratorobo related in my room. So, 2014 was quite an interesting year. At the beginning of the year I got my Wii U, and it's been almost a year, give or take a month or so, since I acquired my Wii U. And I've had enough time to play it, experience it, see all the features and whatnot, and I think I'm finally ready to give my impressions on it. And my impressions are, I love it. It's an excellent system and it works very well. And one thing that I can say very much is that if you're a student like me who doesn't have a lot of space, as you realize, and you don't have space to have a television, Wii U has you covered. You can just play on the gamepad, which is what I always do. So I've been playing Super Mario Brothers 3 on the gamepad, which is pretty amazing. And as far as software goes, I don't have a lot of software. Let's grab these over here. I do have some Wii games that I didn't finish completely, and I'm taking my time to finish now. Lost in Shadow from Hudson Soft, which I miss Hudson Soft, but what are you gonna do? They were one of the main people behind the PC engine, so they have an idea of what they were doing. Wario Land Shake It, Shake Dimension, which is I love Wario Land, and you might have realized I'm a very big fan of Wario Land and Wario games. So if you haven't played Wario Land on Game Boy, you should give it a try. It's an excellent game. And Ark-Rise Fantasia, which a few weeks back I wanted to get a copy for Ark-Rise Fantasia for my nephew. And I ended up getting something else instead, because when I pulled up this on Amazon, the prices were no less than $120. And that is crazy. And you know what? I think it's my fault, because back when this was released, nobody cared about it. I was the only person who actually praised this game and said pretty much everything that has to be said about this game. And I guess somebody caught on, and suddenly the price gouging began. It's a shame. Okay, what else we got here? Mario Brothers U, because you gotta have a Mario game for a Nintendo system. And this is a really good one. This sort of reminds me of Super Mario World by way of Super Mario Brothers 3. It's a mixture, a very mixed bag of wonders, but it's one of those games that if you're not really in the mood, you can just pop in and play a few levels. Mario's unstoppable. I love Mario. Mario Kart 8, which is the first and last Wii U game that I'll ever buy for full price, and I'll explain why later. And Super Smash Brothers for Wii U, which I did not intend on getting Super Smash Brothers for Wii U. I'm not the biggest Smash Brothers fan, at least not yet. But a few days ago in the mail, I suddenly got a package from my brother saying, "There you go, you motherless bastard," and he gave me an early Christmas present, so not too shabby. It's a really good game. It's Smash Brothers. You know what to expect. It's not a lot of content. What I do appreciate is the amount of music it has. Classic music, modern music, and the videos, the little videos that they had when they were revealing the characters. They included all of that in this disc. It's chock full of content. So if you're paying for this, you're paying 60 or 70, or over here games are like $95, so if you're paying that, it's worth it. And it brings an instruction booklet, which is a rarity nowadays, which is the only complaint that I have with the Wii U. How can I phrase this? Okay, let's go through some examples here. This is Fire Emblem: The Sacred Stones, which is my favorite Fire Emblem, probably. I think it's my favorite Fire Emblem so far. Now, I bought this in 2005, and it cost me $40 and some change. And what did I get with it? I get a beautiful instruction booklet with all the pictures, all the portraits, the characters. And I got some high quality printed ads and some Nintendo points that I could spend at the Club Nintendo store, which is pretty awesome. This game right here, Tears to Tiara, Heir to the Overlord, which came out a few weeks ago. This is an excellent game. You have to play this if you haven't yet. This is going to be one of those games that came out towards the very end of the PS3's life cycle and nobody cared about, and it's gonna appear 3 or 4 years for about $300 or $400 on eBay, so get this while you can. This came with an art book, excellent art book, which looks fantastic. This was $40, and it came with a beautifully full-color instruction booklet. Now, this was $75. What is this? Now, I understand that some people said that, oh, they're trying to save the trees and not use so much paper and blah 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 blah. Number one, there's recycling, so if you can recycle paper, you can continue to make these manuals and whatnot. And number two, I understand that maybe they want to save the trees and whatnot, although people have been breeding trees specifically for paper for eons, so what are you going to do? But if you're going to give me less than what I got when I paid for Fire Emblem or Metroid 2 Return of Samus back in 1991, I should be charged less. So, like I said, first and last Wii U game that I'll buy for full price. I am in no hurry to get my Wii U collection because they're going to produce a gajillion of these, so I'm just going to wait a few months until they drop in price and buy them for 40, 30, not buying at full price. So there. So another little thing that I want to do to close the year is go over my PS Vita collection so far, because this is just going to get bigger and bigger. Holy crap. Oh, like I said earlier, anyone who said that PS Vita has no software, you just haven't been using your eyes. Although, to be fair, the one thing that is true about all these games, all of them are Japanese. So if you're not into Japanese games, I can understand that you might be in a fix. Let's go over them. First I want to show you this theme, though. It's a really, really nice theme. It's kind of Japanese. It looks like a wood painting, sort of go board theme. It looks really, really amazing. Over here. They look like little go pieces. Besides a lacquered black box that you usually use to carry bento. It's really amazing. Super Japanese. I'm not sure if you have this. I doubt that you have this theme on the American or European PlayStation Network, but if you log into the Japanese PlayStation Network, you can get this for free, and it's a really, really nice theme. Anyway, let's have a look at the games, shall we? So, first off we have CL Nosurge. This was my first game on Vita, and I love this game. This is the game that actually sold me the Vita. And the sequel to this game, which is sitting around here, Nosurge. I ended up getting the English version because I left my original Japanese version at home. So these two are an awesome, awesome combination. I'll get to this in a moment. So, Sorcery Saga, Curse of the Great Curry God. This is a funny game, and it's one that you can play in short bursts and enjoy immensely. Awesome sauce. Let's put that next to it. Gravity Days, or Gravity Rush, and I got this game for $3 when I was in the United States at Best Buy, and I have to tell you, best $3 I ever spent. It's a very nice artistic game. The art style is very reminiscent of Jean Giraud, also known as Mobius, also known as the artist who did the artwork for Panzer Dragoon. So If you like Panzer Dragoon, you'll probably love this. Conception 2, Children of the Seven Stars, an unstoppable solid game, with a lot of sexual innuendo, which I'm all in favor for. Bullet Girls. Speaking of sexual innuendo, this is actually not innuendo, this is directly just fan service. I love this game. It's a third-person shooting without all the macho bullshit that you're accustomed to. Instead, nice girls and lots of panties. Etc., which I have to give a big shout out and big thanks to my buddy on YouTube, Corn Muffin, X Corn Muffin X, for suggesting this. Etc. is an excellent game, excellent traditional RPG, and I absolutely love the kissing mechanic. It's very creative, and when it comes to creative games, this is right up there. So this is what you get. Next up is Hyperdimension Neptunia Rebirth 1, which unfortunately I did not have a chance to play the Hyperdimension Neptunia on PlayStation 3. But I got it on PS Vita with some extra content and for much cheaper, so huzzah! Excellent game. I've been playing a lot of this lately. To accompany that is Hyperdimension Neptunia Producing Perfection, or PP. This is this genre has been kind of popular lately. It's the idol simulator. You kind of play the manager of an idol, and you have to make concerts and manage a teen idol's career, basically. It's really fun and very funny, and it's Nippon Ichi, so that's always a good thing in my book. Honestly, Nippon Ichi, Idea Factory, Compile Heart, Atlas, while Sony abandoned the PS Vita, and they openly admitted it, the PS Vita fell in the loving arms of these four companies: Atlas, Nippon Ichi, Tecmo Koei, Axis Games, and Idea Factory and Compile Heart. So those are the ones that are actually supporting this system. Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc, which is a crazy game. Take something like let's see, Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, sort of, and something hyper violent like Battle Royale. It's hard to define this game, but it's a crazy game, and you really don't know what to expect, and it's really fun and funny. So good time. Look at all these Vita games. Holy crap, where did all this come from? Hotaru no Nikki, which I talked about a few months ago. This is an excellent, very creative game that uses both touch panels very cleverly. And this came with this little box here with the soundtrack and artwork. So, very good stuff. And finally, a game that I want to talk about very much is this one. And nobody has talked about this game, I guess because it's kind of controversial for Western audiences, but this is Monobeno Pure Smile. This is a very quiet release that came out a few weeks ago, actually. Monobeno Pure Smile is a visual novel. You don't really play much, but you do read a lot of text, and the game is very fun, very creative, and the story of the game is, I guess this is why it wouldn't really click with Western audiences, because of the whole, I don't know, this story is really cute, it's really funny, it has a lot of characters, a lot of these sort of yokai characters, and the story is strange because the main character here has a brother who they live together, and they go to this little town called Monobeno for a ceremony, an annual ceremony. And a few days later she wakes up and discovers that she's suddenly reached puberty, which is far too young to reach puberty. So the game is based on you finding out why the spirits have decided to play this little trick on your sister. But it's a really, really charming game, and if you can get over the Western sort of frame of mind and just get into this story and what it really offers, I guess you'll really have fun with this story. It's really amazing. My goodness, look at all this. Well, since we're here, let's have a look at the Game Boy Pocket software. And this Game Boy Pocket has been my companion for years. I never stopped playing it. Here we have it. Let's go over some of this. I have a recycle shop not too far from where I live, and I found this German copy of Golf, Battle Unit Zeoth, which I spoke about a few months ago. Excellent game. Double Dragon for Game Boy, good times, which I like this game because it's very different from the Double Dragon on NES and very different from the arcade version. That's what I liked about the old Game Boy and NES games. When the same game came out on both systems, they were usually very different. They were like Batman, and it was very different on both the NES and Game Boy. And Gremlins 2: The New Batch was completely different. Super Mario Land, because you can't have a Game Boy without Super Mario Land. Super Mario Land 2, which I believe Super Mario Land 2 is the only game in the Super Mario series that was not developed internally. It was developed by an outside company, but it's a weird game and I love it because it's just wacky and it feels like somebody else's take on a Mario game, which is always nice to get. Wario Land, because you gotta have a Wario game. You know, if there are two crown jewels for the Game Boy, I have to put these two together. Metroid 2: Return of Samus, which is my second favorite Metroid game, my first being Metroid on NES. As far as Metroid games go, my favorites go in sequential order. Metroid, Metroid 2: Return of Samus, Super Metroid, and Metroid Prime. Awesome sauce. And Wario Land, this were actually made by the same team, and they were created by the same person. Samus Aran and Wario were actually created by the same designer, who was Hiroji Kiyotake, if I remember correctly. And it's funny when you think about the badass silent bounty hunter Samus Aran, the loud garlic chopping vulgar Wario, so I don't know. It goes to show how creative people can be. Okay, some final thoughts before I close this video and close this year and say goodbye to this channel pretty much for the foreseeable future. As always, I'd like to remind you that there is no opinion that matters more than yours. Another thing I've been hearing a lot about in recent times is about some hashtags and video game sites saying this and that and lying to people and blah blah blah. And to be perfectly honest, I really don't keep up with video game sites and whatnot. But if anybody asks me, I'll just give my humble opinion. Does the leopard ask the house cat for hunting advice? No. So why would you take into account the opinion or the thoughts of somebody who is clearly beneath you, somebody who is clearly inferior? Frankly, that's all I have to say. You think on the rest. So, book of the year is French Kids Eat Everything by Karen Le Billon. This is a really interesting book that gives you insight on how the French educate their children and society as a whole in food culture and their culinary heritage. And it's not what you would expect. It doesn't deal so much with the culinary aspect or a cookbook or whatnot. It's more of a cultural expose on how the French treat food and how they approach eating, it's much more profound than, say, in the United States or in, frankly, most of the world, as a matter of fact. So, French Kids Eat Anything. It's a marvelous book with some funny illustrations. Excellent read. I actually read this on the airplane in 11 hours. Yes, 11 hours, and it was quite a distractor. So get this book, unless you're English. And if you're English, go have some fish and chips. I've been hearing a lot from a few people that I communicate with regularly about people being disappointed in their games, like I don't remember which, well, mostly on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One games, because they're buggy, unfinished, they're rushed out by these lazy Western developers, whatever. You be your own judge, and if that's what you enjoy, more power to you. And if you don't enjoy that, look for quality. As far as quality goes, you will not get much better than this. Despite all the bad-mouthing that principally Western audiences have towards the PS Vita, I can tell you, PS Vita is the handheld to have this generation. It's got a ton of games, high-quality Japanese games, no bugs, nothing that's going to corrupt your save files. It's just pure fun. Just grab a cartridge, stick it in your Vita, start playing. That's all there is to it. So, I'm going to take this opportunity to also name the Games of the Year, or Game of the Year, 2014. I think I'll simplify it to say the Game of the Year for 2014 from this channel is Fairy Fencer F. Now, Fairy Fencer F is an excellent game all around, and there are very few games that deserve a 10 out of 10 or a 100 out of 100 or a perfect score, and this is definitely one of them. Fairy Fencer F has a great story, great characters, great play style, and above all, I love the music. And I'm one of those people who is not really impressed by graphics. I'm more impressed by music, and there are 3 systems that impress me musically so far. The Sega Saturn, which has an amazing sound chip. Nintendo GameCube, which is the first time I experienced surround sound, and it is amazing. And if you don't believe me, just listen to Metroid Prime in surround sound, or Star Fox Adventures in surround sound. You'll see what I mean. And the PS Vita. PlayStation Vita has an amazing sound chip, and not many people mention that. Not many people point out that the sound on the PlayStation Vita is amazing. The bass is deep and satisfying. The voices are really clear. It's just an amazing system for sound. Now, Game of the Year, Fairy Fencer F. Go out and get it. This is one of the final games that are going to be released for the PlayStation 3, and this is going to get expensive. I'm telling you right now, this is an excellent game, and this is going to be the Panzer Dragoon Saga, or the Albert Odyssey of the PlayStation 3 library. This is going to be very expensive. It's a high-quality game. Get it now. You won't regret it. Special mention goes to Nosurge. All of these games you really should get. They're very high quality. You're not going to get any bugs or any westernized BS with these. Just go out and say it. These are pure fun and no hassle. And a very special mention for strategy games of the year will have to be this. Here's to Tiara, Heir to the Overlord. This is an excellent package. And if you like Shining Force or Fire Emblem, or if you like Poison Pink, you will like this game over here. Tears to Tiara 2, Heir to the Overlord. And it's another one of those games that's going to be very expensive a few years from now, because it came out very late in the PS3's life cycle, ignored by most people, of course ignored by the riffraff that's on Game Failures and IGN or whatnot. Ignorant. Whatever. So that's all I have to say. And as always, keep playing your games, keep enjoying your games. Don't listen to people who have an IQ that is obviously lower than yours. Enjoy it for what it is, and peace out. Been a pleasure.